Hi guys, it's Mark here. I'm gonna making a quick video on how to watch Dota 2. So this game is a bit intense to watch. Understand there's a lot going on, so maybe I thought I'd make a quick video on how and breaking it down on how to actually watch it, and maybe you can enjoy it a little bit more after this video. So the first things first is what am I looking at? So Dota 2 is basically a game. It's a 5v5 game, and on the top of the screen you can see the players and what characters they're using. So just for example, here the water guy is being played by this guy named Fly. Over here, the blue skin guy is being played by a guy named Emo, and this, by the way, is their player names, and so on. So Zeal's playing Dawnbreaker, Boboka is playing Murta, and the Naga is being played by Polasan. Right, so in Dota there's two teams. So the team on the bottom left is called the Radiant, and they're represented by this building here. And on the other side, the top right, is represented by this building here called the Dire. So the game is about the Radiant and the Dire. So what does both teams need to do? Essentially, they need to destroy the Radiant's Ancient, this building here, or they need to or the Radiant needs to destroy the Dire's Ancient. So both teams are essentially protecting and attacking at the same time. Alright, so that's the basics of the game. There's still a lot to look at, so let's break down what is happening on the screen. So maybe I should also open this. Alright, so at the top bar is probably the easiest way of understanding what is going on in the game. So the Radiant team will appear on the left side with their heroes and portraits, and then the Dire team will appear on the right side on the top bar. So each hero has two measurements. So the green bar represents how much health they have, and the blue bar represents something called mana. To cut the story short, no mana means no power, and no health means you're dead. Alright, in the middle, this number 0 and 0 here represents the kill score. So yes, when a hero dies, this number will be incremented for that team. So let's say Emo here dies on Huskar, then the Dire team will have 1 point here. The clock is also quite important in Dota, but it's not as relevant to a beginner spectator. All you need to know is the clock represents how long the game has gone on for. Last but not least is this particular measure here, which is gold, the gold difference between the two teams. As the game has just started, the gold difference is currently very close to 0, but as the game goes on, you'll be able to see the gold increase or decrease. What gold does in Dota is it allows heroes to buy items. So items here, as you can see. So these items make a hero stronger or weaker. At the start of the game, everyone gets the same amount of gold, but as the game progresses, heroes get different amounts of gold, which leads to different number of items, and the difference in items often makes the difference between fights. Okay, so that explains the top bar. So just to recap, there are two main ways on the top bar to get an understanding of which team is winning. First of all is the kill score, and usually the higher the kills, the more the team is winning. And the other way is the gold. So the more gold a team has, the more likely that the team is winning at that point. But remember that Dota is not about gold or kills. Dota is about these two bases, the Dire Ancient and the Radiant Ancient. So whichever team destroys the Ancient will win the game. So it does not necessarily mean kills or gold or anything else. It just means who destroys the building first. Okay. So another way of looking at who's doing well are the two graphs that will appear throughout the game on the left side here. First of all is the last hits and the denies. So last hits are the way that heroes or players can accumulate gold during the game. The number on the left represents the last hits, which essentially is the gold that they are getting, and then the right number is the denies, which essentially is the gold that they're denying from the other team. So once again, a good measure is how many last hits does one hero have, and how many denies does that hero have. Later on in the game, the graph will show this, which is called net worth. And net worth is basically an accumulation of all the gold that a particular player has. So for example, we can see here that as Team Spirit has collected 2 bounty runes with 40 gold each, and whereas the Radiant team has only collected 1 bounty rune, we can tell that the net worth on the Dire side, or the red team, is a lot higher, slightly higher, maybe 40 gold more, and that is reflected in the net worth. Alright. Alright, moving on from the left side of the screen to now the middle. So the middle is what most players will be watching, as we see sort of the exciting action happening on this main area. So as I mentioned before, this particular character here represents 1 player, and it's controlled by one character is controlled by 1 player. So for example, there's another person here, another person here, here, and here. This person that is controlling, you can see their sort of like their control panel at the bottom of the screen. So for example, you can see that this hero's name is Huskar. This is their portrait, which maps to this character, and they have different what we call abilities. So it's not important to know what each one does, but it's good to know that when we're looking at a particular hero or it's a particular character, their abilities are shown here. And as I mentioned before, on the right side of the screen is the items, and the current hero's items are represented here. If I click on Sand King here in the other side of the lane, we'll notice that he has a different set of items, which the player has decided to buy. Okay, so in this particular match, the game has just begun, but throughout the game, it does change a little bit. So maybe let's fast forward a bit to see how the game changes and how we can tell which team is winning as a form of exercise. So as maybe we can keep track of the net worth currently, or the last hits and denies. So we notice that Zeal here playing Dawnbreaker is a little bit ahead of everyone else. But if we zoom forward to maybe 10 minutes into the game, or 14 minutes into the game, we notice that the graph has looked very different. So now Mr. Zeal has dropped down to 5th place in the net worth, and we can also tell that even though the Radiant team is winning in kills, the Dire team also still has about an even amount of gold, as you can tell. So I would say that this position looks quite drawn, or quite even, so to speak. Another good way of telling who is winning at any point in the game is to look at how the minimap looks like. And the minimap is this bottom left visual. As I click around the minimap, you can see that the camera also moves. So what the minimap shows is sort of a high-level representation of the game. So as we can see, at the top side of the map, Mr. Bristleback, Mr. playing by Malik, is over here. Whereas if I go a little bit closer, it's Zeal on the left side of the minimap. So a good way of telling which team is winning is actually something called a map control, or how much of the map does a team own. And when I mean own, what I mean is how much do they contest, or where are they playing their heroes. So if we were to draw a line, let me see if I can do it. Oh no, I can't do it. So if I were to draw a line, like an imaginary line, it seems to have split kind of evenly across the minimap. This sort of represents that the game's going kind of evenly, and both teams are still trying to fight for their own part of the map. But as we go a little bit forward, it's still as we go maybe a little bit past, we notice that maybe a couple of minutes forward, the Dire team is slightly winning now with a 7k gold lead, and we can see that this particular hero has farmed a lot of money compared relative to the rest, meaning that this particular hero is very strong. This doesn't really show my point about the map control. I'm fast forwarding, by the way, that's why everyone is moving a lot faster. Okay, so as we see all the heroes morph together like this, we can now see how the map control has played out. So the Dire team, being a little bit stronger with a 10k gold lead, has decided to try and take the bottom side of the Radiant's base, or the Radiant's map, or the Radiant side. However, the Radiant on the other side, noticing this, they have tried to move up to this side. So if we see this imbalance, and we clearly see that one team is trying to progress the game, whereas the other team is still trying to catch up. I believe there should be a fight soon, and I'm hoping to see that. So eventually, as both teams try to maneuver around each other, eventually a fight will break out. Is he playing here or here? Okay, whatever. Yes, okay, so eventually what will happen is, once one team thinks they have accumulated enough resources, gold, levels, then usually you will see a fight break out. And one team will try and win the game by destroying the Ancient. So as we move closer and closer to the base, usually the other team will have to try and defend. So here, you can see that the Dire team is trying to destroy, with their gold lead, trying to destroy this tower, which eventually gives them access to the Ancient, which is just over here. The Radiant team on the left is trying to defend it as much as possible, but with their gold disadvantage, they're finding it very hard to do so. So spells are being used, a lot is going on, but the main point is that Mr. Satanic over here, playing the Medusa, is extremely strong, and it's hard for them to kill him. Let's see what happens. Okay, so it seems like they are still not sure. I think both teams, the Dire team does seem like they don't think they can end just yet, so they have decided to opt for different objectives in the map. So you might notice, and I didn't explain this, but there are actually 3 lanes. So there's the mid lane, which Satanic is standing on right now. There's the bottom lane, which Mr. Emo is standing on right now. And there's also the top lane, which I guess no one but Fly is pushing out the wave right now. So essentially, the game can be ended by pushing one or all of these 3 lanes in. Usually, the game doesn't progress fast enough that a team can push all 3. So usually, you'll see a winning team pushing 2. So right now, Mr. Satanic is pushing the mid wave, hitting the mid tower, the mid tier 2 tower. And then before progressing to possibly the tier 3 tower. Okay, well, he's rotating top now, and he's going to start hitting the tier 3 top. Let's see if the Radiant team decides to put up a fight. Okay, so seems like before the Radiant team even has a chance to put out defense, the Dire team has used spells and used their advantage on the Radiant team, and now the Radiant team has also 2 people dead. So as you can see, one hero is respawning in 12 seconds, another in 34 seconds, and this will give the opening for the Dire team to start destroying the base and eventually reach the Ancient. Looks like another fight is going to happen as the Radiant team tries to put up a defense. But as both teams try and poke each other out, looks like nothing is really happening. Okay. Oh, they just call it. Alright, so it looks like it's very anticlimactic game. But what has happened here is that in the middle of the screen, you can see that both teams have chatted something called GG, and if the first team to type GG, it is considered as a surrender. So you might see this a lot in the tournament, but this is an FYI. So if someone types GG, it just means good game, and they are looking to surrender. So very soon, this building will just explode, just like this, and then we'll be able to tell who won the game. Okay, so I think hopefully that explains Dota 2 a little bit better. There are probably better videos out there for understanding it, but maybe you do appreciate it came from me instead of anyone else. Right, so thanks for watching the quick video.